I'm Elsie Addington. I've been in Laguna Woods about 2 years, but I've been around Laguna Woods for over 40 years because I had friends here when I was a young woman. And I really love it here. I love living here, and I'd like you to vote for me for a board member of United Mutual. But first of all, I'll talk about my education. I went to UC Irvine when there was only 2,400 people back in the day, and I got my degree in Latin American history while I was there. In addition to that, since I graduated from university, I've got 30 more additional college units of accounting and business law, which leads me to my professional background. I had 2 years as a program analyst with the Department of Defense at MCAS El Toro, and I was also a production manager for a direct mail advertising firm in Irvine, California for 3 years. But my main business background is I worked for the Internal Revenue Service in various positions for about 28 years. Most significantly, 3 of those positions were tax auditor, special agent, and revenue agent. All 3 of those jobs, of course, special agent is a criminal investigation position, so that was for criminal purposes. And revenue agent and tax auditor is basically the same job, and that's assessing the correctness of financial statements and the correct tax liability, not necessarily the exact tax liability, but the correct tax liability. And whether or not further investigations warranted, or if there should be penalties applied, or in the case of criminal violations, of course, whether a prison sentence should be applied. So even though I worked in public service, but I still had a lot of information coming to me in various forms about different types of businesses. Although I wasn't involved in gigantic businesses, just mid-sized to large businesses. My civic and social activities include Seroptimism International. I was in Seroptimism for about 5 years as a result of being sponsored by a lady that lived here in the village. And I was in my 20s. I was in my 20s when I first had a friend here in the village, and she got me into Seroptimism, and that's a old women's club. It's like Rotarian, only for females. And I'm a lifetime member of the Trabuco Canyon Women's Club, without whom I would not be here today. Those are my girls. I was on the first board of the Ziggurat Child Development Center, which is at the federal building in Laguna Niguel. It was one of the very first child care centers of it's like a daycare center of its type, built on federal property in the country. It was one of the very first. And it was for the benefit of employees and for the general public. Of course, they paid money for that, but it was employer sponsored, and I was on the first board, so we put the whole thing together, and that was a real eye-opener. And that was all volunteer. That was all on our private time. And we developed it, and I believe it's still in operation. It certainly was a few years ago. Here in Laguna Woods, I'm mostly busy gardening in my garden plot and garden center too. And I'm also a little bit active in the Ocean Club. It's just a question of time. But I love the Ocean Club, and the garden plot is very demanding of my time. I also absorbed the philosophy of nonprofit organizations, where service to the greater good is more important than profit and personal enrichment. My mother was a teacher, my cousins were teachers, my son works for a local city government, I worked for the federal government. Public service is just very important to our family, and it's a way to pay back what the public has given us. I certainly feel that way about Laguna Woods. I have loved Laguna Woods Village for many years. Now I want to share the load in return for all the help given me by the people here. If you elect me to the United Board, I will learn to navigate the various administrative systems within the village and be able to better help you the way you have always helped me. Let me listen to you. Thank you. Vote for me.
Hi, I'm Janie Durrell, and I've lived in United for 5 years. I was appointed to the United Board in 2016 and am currently serving as First Vice President. I also serve on the United Board Executive Hearings Committee. I chair the Architectural Control and Standards Committee, and we work closely with staff. We have worked closely with, oh God, I'm sorry.
That's okay, you want to take it from the top?
Okay. Hi, I'm Janie Durrell, and I've lived in United for 5 years. I was appointed to the United Board in 2016. I am currently serving as First Vice President. I also serve on United Board's Executive Hearing Committee. I chair the Architectural Control and Standard Committee. We have worked closely with staff, residents, and contractors to streamline our alteration and variance programs, eliminating the time involved for approval of all alterations. We established standard policies such as soffits, split bathrooms, windows, doors, just to name a few. I also serve on the M&C and the Landscape Committee, along with being a member of GRF and CAC. We need to continue with our maintenance construction programs and to keep our budgets in line and expenses as low as possible. I believe as a director's duty is to listen to our resident members, contractors, and realtors, discuss staff's recommendations and directors' opinions, study the issues, evaluate them, and make reasonable decisions. I have strong leadership skills. I make sure that residents receive full information on issues and facts. I support the direction of our United Board with oversight of our finances and cost-efficient maintenance of our manners. Within the past experience, I've been honored with many awards and accomplishments. I have been a corporate relocation director, administrative assistant, owner of the Century 21 real estate office, and an owner of Silver Lake Resort in June Lake, which was awful fun. Looking forward, our infrastructure is one of my main concerns. We need to continue with our maintenance construction programs to preserve our housing in United for another 50 years by budgeting our reserve plans for waste lines, copper water lines, electrical panels, water heaters, building structures, dry rot, landscape, and tree maintenance. The board needs to be very aware of inflation figures this coming year and need to keep our cost as low as possible. As an incumbent director, I work diligently with our United Board and VMS staff to stay on budget and provide necessary services. I seek your continued support and vote to ensure United remains properly managed, maintained for the beneficial interest of existing and future United shareholders. With a smile and a big hug, I ask for your vote. Thank you so much.
Good morning. My name's Anthony Liberatore. I'm from United. The driving force for choosing United over Seal Beach was the Saddleback Hospital. And Linda, my wife, and I moved here in 2012 November. As you might guess, we were looking for security and a safe place to live out our lives. And we were really impressed with all the amenities, 7 pools, 7 clubhouses, and I think now we have 3 working gyms, 36 holes of golf, many clubs and activities. Reality sets in, however, and tells us, like a marriage, you have to work at it to keep Laguna Woods the place to retire. With this in mind, my 37 years in corporate America, along with my education, makes me an asset or a tool to be part of an effort to keep United a vibrant, attractive, and welcoming community. And one of the burning issues from my 5 3/4 years here is the amount of talent we have here as directors and in our residents. And if we can challenge that talent, get it together, listen to each other. We're poised to do great things. And so I like to end by quoting this quote. The great lessons for democracies to learn is for the majority to give the minority a full, free opportunity to present their side of the case. Then for the minority, having failed to win a majority to their views, gracefully to submit and to recognize the action as that of the entire organization and cheerfully to assist in carrying it out until they, the minority, secure its appeal. And this is from Henry M. Roberts. It's in RONR, the Roberts Rules of Order, 11th edition, in the introduction on page 49. And if I'm chosen by the residents, I will faithfully carry out the fiduciary responsibilities of a United Director. And thank you for your attention.
For those who do not know me, I want to tell you a little more as to who I am. I've lived in the village over 15 years, and I love it here. I've been a supervisor in the Pottery and Glass Studios and president of the Garden Center Club. I believe in volunteering. Last week with the Garden Center Club, I delivered 1,015 pounds of winter squash to the food bank from the garden. I spearheaded the farmers market event, which raised $500 for the food bank. I take emeritus classes and I work out in the gym almost every day. When I retired, I joined the Peace Corps and served 2 years in Samoa. And each year I teach English in an underserved country. Next week it will be Sri Lanka. I have a master's degree in mathematics and I've spent 25 years in management, both in the private and public sector. I've worked for NASA on aviation projects and large electronic firms developing new products. I have been successful at getting projects out on time and under budget. I have a strong background in project management, quality assurance, measurement techniques, cost analysis, and return on investment calculations. I'm running for the board because I think using my skills, I can contribute in making this place more efficient and with cost savings. I'm of the opinion that most important qualities of our board can have is an open, friendly, united decision-making in an atmosphere of mutual respect for shareholders. I am a high-energy, creative person and believe in consensus. I'm a team player, and I do not believe in saying no or denied. I believe that it is usually possible to make any situation into a win-win. I can listen when my ideas are being attacked and not take it personally, and try to understand others' concerns and work them into the final product. Many projects done by VMS staff seem to take more than one iteration. And to correctly complete, I would like to see management put in place a corrective action plan so that the inefficiency of doing things more than once is eliminated. Also, I think there should be more participation by residents. We have a very talented community, and we need to make use of their strengths to address issues on all fronts. We need to make it easy to tap on residents for short-term projects. Today, with all the computer systems in place, much online data is being collected, and it needs in-depth review. So strategic goals can be set and measurements put in place so we know how we're doing against the goals. I've taught computer science and database structures at the college level and are very computer savvy. But primarily, I will work for a transparent governance in which everyone has the right to an answer. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Greg McLaughlin, and I've been living in Laguna Woods for about 8.5 months. I grew up in central Pennsylvania and moved to St. Louis when I was 20 years old. I have a degree in a BS in analytical chemistry from the University of Missouri in St. Louis, and I've been working in the field of analytical chemistry, method development, mostly developing methods for pharmaceutical and biotechnology companies. For 52 years I've been involved in analytical chemistry. So I worked at McDonnell Douglas in St. Louis, Mallinckrodt Chemicals, where I worked on acetaminophen, and Monsanto, working for Roundup. And then Beckman Instruments hired me in 1978 and moved me to the East Coast. I was their first HPLC specialist in the New York City, New Jersey area. Then I went in, eventually I moved into sales for 5 years in Madison, Wisconsin. And then I was promoted to be the product manager for a new product development called capillary electrophoresis in Palo Alto. And my last job there is I moved back to the East Coast, and I led the technical support group, which was trying to teach the sales force to be more technically competent. Eventually I worked for Dynex in Sunnyvale, developed a couple more projects for 5 years, and then I moved to Southern California at Irvine Pharmaceutical for 8 years, doing method development, leading teams of people in developing methods for major pharmaceutical companies. And in 2010, I moved to Florida, and I started my own analytical chemistry consulting company. So some of my interests that I'm involved in Laguna Woods, I'm involved in the softball team, bocce, pentanque, archery, bridge. I play a lot and have about 2,000 points. I'm a pretty decent player. I ride my bike about 50 miles a week, a mountain bike, and I go swimming almost every night. Eventually I'll probably play golf, but of course if I end up getting on the board, I'll reprioritize some of those things. I've succeeded in some of my jobs because of my honesty. I think I work hard and work smart and go beyond normal effort, and believe that will pay off in the long runs. I believe that challenging problems can be solved using effort, logic, and persistence. When I changed in my different roles of careers, I was successful in many jobs. I was able to learn and succeed in a new position by refocusing my minds and energies to whatever it was needed to accomplish the job. If I'm given the honor to serve on the board, I will serve with an open mind and ear to keep Laguna Woods fiscally sound. I want Laguna Woods to be a safe and friendly place to live, and make this a kinder, gentler place with greater homeowner input, access, and participation. My main goal in joining the board is to find out what's most important to the residents of Laguna Woods and to represent their interests in a balanced manner to be consistent with the needs of the United Mutual Board and policies of VMS. I hope that I'm able to give you a little bit about my background and interests, and I hope that you will vote for me in the near future. Thanks so much.
Hello, my name is Karan. This past April, I was selected to serve out the remaining months of the term of a previous director. Now I am looking for your vote in this election to continue working as a member of the United Board. I am a degreed, licensed professional engineer. I spent 6 years in the U.S. Navy, where I served on a nuclear-powered submarine. During that time, I learned the value of a strong work ethic, as well as how to be a team player, good listener, multitasker, and problem solver. Without these qualities, our missions could not be successfully completed, with 140 people returning home safely. I applied these qualities throughout my over 40-year career, where I was involved in design, engineering, construction, and project management of $100 million plus projects for industrial and power generation facilities. I strongly believe that anything can be achieved with hard work, the right attitude, persistence, and a well-thought-out goal. For example, after I left the Navy, I completed my engineering degree at night, then earned my PE license, all while holding a full-time job as an engineer and married with 2 small children. That experience also taught me that it is essential to have a good sense of humor, coupled with a healthy dose of perspective when the going gets tough. I have always believed that everyone's voice and viewpoint should be heard. In conjunction with that, I also believe that more things are successfully achieved when collaborating with others than when working alone. Remember, TEAM can be an acronym for Together Everyone Achieves More. I bring all my talents, skills, and experiences to my current position as a director on the United Board and look forward to continue in this role in order to contribute to the success of the Laguna Woods Village community. We are a thriving, active community with a variety of needs and wants that must be addressed, but these must also be balanced with our responsibilities as stewards for the resources of our community. We are living in an environment which is aging along with us. It presents us with the challenge of keeping up with proper maintenance and necessary upgrades to our overall infrastructure and various amenities while keeping their costs reasonable. As we move forward in this 21st century, we must use emerging information and new technologies that are available to us to continue the work towards the goals of keeping this community vibrant and thriving, as well as cost effective. Thank you.
My name is Benjamin Shavit. I lived here in the village for 3 years. My background, education in the performing arts took me around the world and dropped me in New York. I came to the United States in a command of 7 languages, which by now I lost half of them because of loss of use. I want to be a member of the board because I have a lot to offer. I'm a visionary person, and I'm an idea man, and I am sure that to every good situation there is a better situation, no matter how good it is. And here's where I fit in. And I have experience in business, and I own businesses, investment. I'm an excellent negotiator, and so much more that I cannot squeeze into 2 minutes interview. So this statement comes directly from the heart, is not written. Don't have it text to read from, but this is my statement. I thank you for listening.